everyone, it's Lisa from K9 Clips Dog Grooming Tips. This is Mugsy, or Mugs, and he is a Shih Tzu. And I am going to do a video on trimming up his face and feet and nails and ears, because that is the hardest thing to do on a dog. He's got quite a bit of hair in there, and as you can see, he's got quite a buildup under his eyes, which is quite common for the Shih Tzus because their nose is so small and short. So he does have a wart up there, so that's a different thing. So he's a little bit older, but you can really see the buildup here under his eyes. So I'm going to get all that out of there and show you how I do that. When I first started many years ago, 17, of course it's a little, well, I don't know, scary to groom your dog. That's how I started out, grooming my own dog, and then it developed into grooming other people's dogs because I enjoyed it so much, and I got really good at it just by doing it. So it takes some practice and consistency and just trial and error. So hopefully you can also do this with your dog as well. I'll try to show you the basics as I go along here. So I have always used scissors on the face, and these nice long ones. So that's why I'm very comfortable with them. But if you are not, you can buy the ones with the rounded tips, and you can buy different types of things that would work for your dog. I am going to be showing you with scissors because that's what I do. I do not shave in there. Even sometimes when the Shih Tzus get their faces shaved, I can kind of shave like with the clippers around, but I can't get in there because it's so short, and plus if there is a lot of tearing and staining, it's really hard to get in there with clippers because that will just kind of pull, and if the staining has been there for too long, it'll be very raw underneath, and so there might be some raw spots and red spots and loose, well, I don't know, oozing, I guess. It's you never know what you're going to find under that staining. So because it's just so compacted in there and it's dense, so that doesn't allow the skin to breathe. All right, so I do have many other videos too of how I work with dogs that aren't going to be as well behaved as this guy here on my channel. So if you want to check that out, just the different holds that I use to, you know, get them to comply, I guess. But I don't use any physical restraints. I use this guy right here. So just different types of hold. So you can see he's pretty relaxed. I'm going to try to get you as close in as I can. But if you are on your cell phone, you can zoom in. You know, please let me know what you think of the video. So I'm just going to go straight across. And when working with scissors, of course, you always got to know where those ends are. And I do have my hand on him so that if he does move, I'm aware right away that he's going to move or is beginning to move. So I'm able to adjust my scissors. I'm just going to do the top of the nose here. I just like a starting point, especially when there's that much tearing in there. Okay, and then what I do, so I take the, and I go across, but kind of towards the nose. I'm going to cut that big chunk off. Because out here, you're not going to have to worry about any skin out there. Because it just keeps oozing and oozing. So then I just go a little bit at a time inside. It's just like getting a mat out of the fur. You just work your way down a little bit at a time. And it's nice and loose in here underneath. And it gets a little more wet and moist. So then it's not really right stuck to the skin, which is nice. Sometimes it might be. And what you'll want to do for that is get some wet paper towel. And you really want to just moisten that area up and rub it back and forth with wet paper towel. So not a face cloth, because that can irritate the eye because it's kind of rough. But a paper towel will work very good because it won't leave any debris behind either. Okay, so there's another big one here. So again, I went outward a little bit, but it is really deep in there. He's got a fold of skin, which, as you are aware, that's pretty common with the Shih Tzus. You can see the mat is right there. Okay, so that one's pretty deep in there. I don't really want to dig it out anymore with the scissors because of the folds of skin. So, as I was just explaining with the paper towel, I am going to do that. Just because it's so close to the skin, so I'm just wetting a paper towel with water. You're such a good boy. Alright, so just plain paper towel. Again, we use this because it doesn't leave any debris and it doesn't scratch the eye. So it's just a rubbing motion, nothing too fancy, just really getting in there. You don't want to put anything other than water on there. You can see some of it's coming loose. And I'm just rubbing it back and forth. It won't hurt the dog, it's just going to annoy them. So I'm just going to go back and forth here. Just really want to get in there to loosen it up. Yeah, I think it has done that job. Okay, so now when I go in there, you can see all that's kind of loosened up a bit. There's still that little bit of a snag, so I'm going to try to use my fingers to bring it up. I just want to have a little bit of a gap between the skin and that little mat thing. Oh, there we go. So I just kind of pulled it away from the skin. It's right there. See, now I can get under it with the scissors. And there it was. Okay. So again, you want to make sure you're able to get under it before you cut. And if you're not sure, just keep using paper towel, and eventually that will kind of rub itself out where that thick part will come out with the water. And of course, if they're moving around and stuff, you know, you don't need to take it out either. Just get as close as you can in there. You know, you're going to try to take all the bulk out, and it'll still breathe better. And then you can go back with that paper towel a couple times through the day. You know, give your dog a break between, give yourself a break. Just kind of do it when you can. Okay, so this eye is really thick. So I like to come downwards from the nose. I guess I do both, so that I can kind of get underneath it. So when I'm using the scissors, I'm kind of feeling with them to try to get underneath the mat. So there, that is all mat and goop. So again, just doing a little bit at a time. And again, see, I'm seeing I can get underneath it, but I can also see that I'm pulling up the skin. So I'm going to go really high up on this one. So it's just kind of at the end of it. And it's kind of letting me see where all these are now. And as I said, I do have videos on my channel, see, and actually, and you'll be aware of this, this chunk here is actually a wart. So I do not want to cut that one. But here is a big chunk of debris. So you don't want to cut the warts, obviously. It's just a little angle, different angle dangle of the scissors. All right, that one's pretty close now. So I'm going to use that paper towel again. And you can really see it starting to come loose. And kind of when you cut the top part of it off, it exposes the under, so then you're able to get in there and it wants to release. It sometimes takes a little bit of time. All right, I'm going to rinse off my paper towel. And generally the face is the hardest part to do because of course you're near those eyes, and of course it's scary to use those scissors, so it is the hardest area to learn. Generally when people groom their dogs on their own and they just want me to touch them up, it's their eyes, around their eyes and their feet that are the most difficult, because a lot of dogs don't like to hold their feet still either. And again, a lot of them don't like the clippers, or they don't like the scissors near their feet. And generally, their feet may be sore if their nails are overgrown. Okay, so you can see lots of that brown is coming off. And in order to prevent this from coming back, you just got to wipe your dog's eyes. You know, every day. Especially those Shih Tzus. It also helps to remove chicken from their diet. That's a good boy. I know. You're so interested to see what I'm doing. Okay. So now that I loosen that up a bit. So, of course, you're going to be aware if there's a wart near your dog's eye. But for a groomer, you just want to make sure you check that stuff out. You don't want to just go in there and start cutting. That's why you take a little bit at a time, especially when it's so thick, because those warts can hide in there. And they just look like the gook, the rest of it. Oh, there, it actually rubbed right out. Okay, so that chunk is actually gone. Alright, so I'm going to try to go just around the top of this wart here, because there's actually hair growing on top of it. There we go, that would poke in the eye. Okay. So that is the most difficult of the process to do. So the next, I'm just going to trim this all short because his eyes do get so goopy. If that's a word, it's the new word now. Goopy? We'll say goopy. So it can be a little easier for that owner to wipe it down a bit. And it's just easier to keep that face a little bit shorter. And I can just layer it back from there. So when I'm layering back, I'm going this way, not up and down. I'm going to go kind of follow the hair because it'll give it a more layered look. If you go up and down, it'll look really choppy. you cut it that way and it looks choppy, it will grow out too. So, all right, so then I trim around the ears. And you can see all that hair inside, but I just want to trim up to the inside of the ear canal, to where that first flap is, where it kind of folds over. I just want to use the scissors to trim all that kind of hair out. And then for the ears, so I use my thumb here and my finger there. That's on the edge of the ear. So then I know where it is. So when I'm cutting, you know, and I want to go a little bit away from it, but it gives me a guide to know how close I can get to that ear. Just going to do the same thing on this side. And I just layer them. The same thing, so you kind of go downwards, not across. And that'll kind of give it more of a layered look. And you can trim your dog before or after the bath. You know, if they have lots of goop in their eyes, probably be a good idea to bath them first. Then you can really kind of massage that area where the eye buildup was. But if you're just cleaning up in between, right, you can just use that paper towel too. Okay, so once I get the ears trimmed to where I like them, I'm going to move you. Try to get you in closer. So you can see his ears are actually really nice and healthy. And they have a bit of hair, you can see, and that hair in there really grows fast and long. He comes in every 3 months, this guy. So he's a regular. Getting groomed, but that hair in that ears comes back fast. So if your dog's prone to ear infections, there we go. This will help prevent them keeping that hair out, because then there's nothing, oh, big one there. Nothing for that wax to stick to. That was in that pull. You're looking at me like, what is going on? Good boy. There we go, and that's the end of that. So if he did have lots of wax and it was really dirty, I would be using some Q-tips. I'd be putting some solution in there, I guess, first. Oh, thanks. See, he's already ready for the next year. Getting some solution in there and then using the Q-tips to clean that out. And I do have some videos just on specifically doing that as well. So cleaning a dog with dirty ears, or plucking the hair out. I've created quite a few playlists as well. So if you want to see some specific videos in regards to that, you should be able to find that on the playlists. And if there's some playlists you'd like created, just let me know. I am working on getting some set up, but just got to make sure you get that time to do it. Okay. Lots in here. How long that is. But it does feel better, doesn't it, after? So what I'll do for this guy, because his ears are healthy, I'm just going to put the ear solution in after the bath. That just dries everything out. Since I don't have to worry about any wax buildup in there. Again, and I do have some videos that, you know, for dogs that have really dirty ears. You can check those out. Okay, good. So we've done the face. And we've done the ears. Yeah. The big fluffy body. So again, you go back, but if you go this way, it will be choppy. But if you go back with the hair, it's all about learning which way the hair grows, and you kind of follow that. And that will determine if it's layered more so for you. Okay, so what I'm going to do with the feet is I am going to show you with the scissors. Oh, you got big chunks in there. With the scissors and with the clippers. So first I'm going to start with the scissors. So I'm going to be using the scissors to clean out the pads. And then I'm going to use the clippers on the other side. And of course we'll trim that those nails as well. Okay, so you can see he's got a little bit of hair in there, but not too bad. So first I just kind of go straight across the pads with the scissors, just to get everything that's sticking above the pads. And I'll go through the toes a little bit. It's always good to have your dog on a raised surface as well. Okay, and then I do go a little bit in between. So again, you got to watch where these tips are. So when you're digging in there, know where those ends of your scissors are, because you don't want to accidentally cut the pad. And again, if you're cutting and you feel any resistance, you stop. You don't push those scissors through anything, because you may have a mat there, or you may be touching the skin or the pad. So you don't want to push, and you don't, you know, there shouldn't be very much resistance. If there's mats in there, you'll know too, so you can dig those out. I do have videos on that as well, where their feet are matted. I know, buddy. Okay. There we go. I'll do a little better explaining the trimming of the nails, but I'm just so used to doing it, so forget to explain sometimes. Okay, so same kind of process. I'm just cutting the bulk of it from underneath. I'll try to get a better view for you. Alright, so I'm going to go inside the pad between a little bit, so use them to kind of separate, and I also use my fingers to kind of feel in there. And I'm going to cut. And again, it's the same as the face. You kind of work your way down. So if there is some matting or it's thicker, you can kind of work your way down. And then I go through the tones as well. And kind of go upwards. If you're wanting to keep their dog's fur a little bit longer, you're not going that way, you're just kind of going straight up. So then the top of the foot looks a little longer. And then you can kind of just layer it. And it kind of keeps the length on the top. Alright, so now for the scissor, or for the nails, you can see there's a curve there. There's the pad. General rule of thumb is you kind of go across from the pad, but if you're just starting out and you're not sure where to cut, just take a little bit off. Just a little corner, because that still assists and helps the nail. You just do a little bit at a time, so then in a couple weeks you would do this again. Just take a little bit off. It's always good to have styptic powder. It's okay, buddy. And that'll help stop the bleeding. So it's quick stop for styptic powder, for nail bleed stop. There's a few different names for it. You just want to make sure that powder is fine, like a fine powder, not thicker. So that goes in there. If any do bleed, I will show you that. Okay, so that is the process with the scissors. Now, I will show you with the clippers. I'm just going to use the regular number 10 blade, because that's most common what people will have. And that's a standard blade that comes on the ones with attachments. And then, of course, it's the number 10 blade. So you wouldn't put any of the black guards on it. You would just use it without the guard. Alright, so for this, we just kind of dig in those pads a little bit. We're kind of doing the same thing where you kind of go across the top of the pad. Just get that top layer off. And then you go back and you kind of dig it in there. And a little bit of a map in there, so I kind of just work it a little bit more. There we go. Just go from different angles to really get in there. There we go. And so that is good for that. And then I still do use the scissors to go between the toes though. I just can't seem to get those nice and clean with the clippers. Good boy. I know, buddy. Okay, and last one here. Oh. It's okay. That's why. Just kind of dig in there a little bit. The back feet don't seem to have the thickness like the front one did, so. There you go, good boy. All right. I'll finish up. So I hope you enjoyed the video and this was helpful for you. And please leave me a comment or a question. If you'd like to see something different, I'd appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel and like the video. Okay, last one. I appreciate you taking the time to watch, and I wish you luck in grooming your dog. But just let me know if I can help in any other way. There we go, all done. So hopefully you enjoyed that video, just a shorter one of trimming the face and feet, nails, and plucking those ears and trimming up the ears. So thanks for watching, guys. You have a great day, and we'll see you again soon. Okay, bye, baby. It's like, no, I'm done. Woohoo.